To have you with us. In our first story, an Accra High Court, Accra Circuit Court, has ruled that persons who have pledged to take responsibility if Men's Gold CEO Nana Mensah fails to show up in court to stand trial must no longer show evidence of owning properties worth 1 billion cedis. This follows an application by his lawyers describing the bail sum as impossible to meet. Lead counsel Kwame Ekufu urged the court to fix the sum at 5 million cedis. The court presided over by Jane Harriet Akwelekwe on July 26 granted him bail in the sum of 1 billion Ghana cedis with 5 sureties. 3 of the sureties were required to collectively show evidence of owning properties worth that amount. We go to the phone lines now to bring on my colleague Joseph Akable to get the latest on this. Joseph, what does this mean?
It means that for Nana Mensah to now execute his bail, all he requires to do is to have 5 persons who are gainfully employed come over to the court, sign the bail documents, then he walks away. That is the simple process now. In the past, the conditions that were fixed by the court, they were required that 5 people come and sign, then 3 of those people are supposed to provide documents showing that they own properties that will be valued at 1 billion cedis. Now that was what was quite difficult for his lawyers to do, for which reason they had asked the court to reduce this for them to an amount of 5 million cedis. But the judge rather said that there's no longer a need for justification, and so they are just get 5 people who are gainfully employed, sign the document for him, then he walks away.
Now, Joseph, from your experience in court reporting, what does this mean? Does it mean then that if Nana Mensah jumps bail, there's no monies paid to the court?
In this particular instance, what it will mean is that instead of the process where documents of the properties will be in the possession of the court, such that once he jumps bail, they will have to proceed to confiscate and subsequently sell the assets to reach that amount. In this particular instance, it doesn't work that way. So it means that the individuals will sign and they will walk away. But in the event he jumps bail, the state will now have to go after the properties of these individuals that have to be worth an amount of 1 billion cedis. So the difference is that the state in this instance does not have access to the documents showing the property before he executes the bail.
But the amount, so the amount did not change to 5 million cedis. It still remains 1 billion cedis.
It still remains 1 billion cedis. The difference is that he must now not show evidence of the 1 billion cedis before he walks away.
So is he free to go now?
As we understand, his lawyers currently are getting the BNI officials to get him over to the courtroom to have the documents signed, then he walks away.
So that means that since bail was granted some weeks ago, Nana Mensah has been unable to demonstrate ownership or provide persons to demonstrate ownership of properties worth 1 billion cedis.
That has been the case, and that is why he has remained in the custody of the BNI up until now.
Joseph, tell us about the atmosphere in courts today.
Last time you had a number of Men's Gold customers come over to the court premises. The number was a bit lower this time around. Obviously, this particular day was not one that was much publicized in terms of the reportage among others. So you don't have many of the customers, I must say, coming over to the court premises. But still, few of them came over and his lawyers obviously finished their case. And so far, those who were present here say they are satisfied with this directive coming from the court, allowing him to walk away now with this reviewed bail condition.
Right, thank you very much, Joseph Akable. Away from that story, family members of the 3 missing Takoradi girls are appealing to civil society organizations and some prominent Ghanaians to put pressure on the police to help find them. Speaking on behalf of the families at a press conference in Accra, brother of one of the girls, Michael Labi Kranche, stated the family members are optimistic the girls are still alive despite a discovery of human remains at the residence of the suspect.
Now we feel the police needs to be pressured in order for them to act swiftly. They are working. We know they are working. They are doing what they can. But I think there is more effort. There is more to be done. So if the past presidents and civil society organizations put themselves in the matter, I think it would ginger the police to speed up their work. We are optimistic of seeing our girls alive and safe, as said early on by the National Security Minister, the Interior Minister, and the CID boss. We are once again calling on past presidents, the First Lady, and the Network for Women Rights in Ghana, Child Rights International, and all civil society organizations to intervene for us. The second issue we would want to address is about information given by the families, by the police, concerning the exhumation of human remains in a septic tank at the residence of Samuel Odotok Wells, one of the suspects. We, the families, want to ask the police some questions and to spell out our reasons why we don't want to avail ourselves for a DNA test. Our first question is, if the police claim they found human remains and that could possibly be the remains of our lovely girls, what becomes of the statement by the CID boss, the National Security Minister, and the Interior Minister that the girls are alive and safe? Is the police trying to bring down the credibility of the above mentioned? 2, can the police tell us they made no search initially when Samuel Wells was arrested? 3, we will again want to ask, who would testify that the said remains were exhumed from the said septic tank, since all the civilians were driven away from the scene? Can the police come clear on why Mr. Peter Oforidonko, the former DSP in Takoradi, and Mr. Metepe were transferred, since they know the depth of the matter? Finally, we are asking why the police is distorting information concerning the whereabouts of our girls. We are that asking for an independent body to run a forensic test, if any.
Meanwhile, President of the Concerned Mothers Association, Josephine Amo, says the police acted unprofessionally by not conducting a proper search of the residence of the prime suspect when he was first arrested.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we do not believe that the body part retrieved from the residence of the main suspect belongs to our Takoradi missing girls. If they were, then we want to say that our police and the national security have not acted professionally. Elsewhere, the so-called septic tank will be searched right from the first day when the main suspect was arrested. We want it to be on record that we believe the security of every individual in Ghanaian is in danger. We have said before, and we will want to state again that today, it is our daughters of Sekendi Takoradi missing. Tomorrow, it will be somebody in Kumasi, Tamale, Accra, even Bolga. If it takes the security agencies almost a year to rescue our girls, then everybody's life is in danger. If we all do not speak out and register our displeasure about the way our security agencies have handled the matter, tomorrow it could be you or me.
More on that story in later bulletins. Now, the Upper West region has over 100 communities at Ghana's border with Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast. Only 2 out of the over 100 communities have a border post. The rest are unapproved routes expected to be manned by the patrol unit of the Ghana Immigration Service. Considering the nature of the country's borders in the wake of suspected threat of terror attacks, Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam takes a closer look at the northwestern side of the country's borders with Burkina Faso and La Côte d'Ivoire.
The Upper West region is one of the 16 regions of Ghana. It is located at the northwestern corner of Ghana, bounded to Burkina Faso to the north and Ivory Coast to the southwest. It covers a geographical area of 18,476 square kilometers, representing 12.7% of the total land area of Ghana. Until the creation of 6 other regions, it used to be the 7th largest region and made up of 11 municipalities and districts. The region has a projected population of 1 million people. By virtue of its location, the Upper West region has the potential for international and inter-regional trade and other bilateral relations, but the overspill of criminal activities and disaster such as bushfires, diseases and pestilence, armed robbery from the region's neighbors also pose a threat. There is even a more serious issue on hand now: the attacks on churches in Burkina Faso by suspected terrorists raise the alarm bells in the region. Kweku Bawone is a career diplomat and former external intelligence operative stationed in the Middle East. He was one of 4 Ghanaian external intelligence operatives embedded in Lebanon in 1972 to study or cover the problems of terrorism. He painted a mental picture of the porous nature of the country's borders in the northwestern end of the country.
Our border runs around almost about 200 miles, where you have to pick it from the Tumu area and come all the way to Hamele. Then from Hamele, you come southwest along the Black Volta, okay, all the way down to Taliawodo and all the way down there. And I'm saying that if I get 1,000 people and take them to any of those borders, all the 1,000 can actually go across and, each one find a route to get into, Burkina Faso. I'm also saying that the delineation, of the border has not been well done. Nobody actually knows where the latitudes and longitudes belong. Nobody can actually pinpoint where Ghana ends and where Burkina Faso takes over. Then also along the borders, especially to the northern portion, okay, you are going to have people crossing over to their farms. Farmers have their farms across the border. Those in Ghana have their farms in Burkina. Those in Burkina have their farms in Ghana. They go across for funerals, they go for weddings, they go to the market. So you see, there's a fluid nature of cross-border activity.
There was fear and panic in the region following the arrest of a 51-year-old Burkinabe man during the church service at Hambele a couple of months ago. The arrest of Desiree Biligo and subsequent arrest of another Burkinabe man in Hambele has raised serious questions about the preparedness of the country's security, considering the porous nature of the country's borders, especially the Upper West region. Apart from the 2 official borders located at Tumu and Hambele, there are over 100 communities located close to the Black Volta that are without borders. Residents and other travelers use these unapproved routes either on foot during the dry season and boats during the peak rainy season. Chief Superintendent Abdullahi Zakaria is the Deputy Upper West Commander of the Ghana Immigration Service.
The unapproved routes are entry points that are unofficial, though unofficial, but are being patrolled by our special unit called the Border Patrol Unit. So in that case, we wouldn't say that our borders are porous, and we deploy officers based on intelligence.
Outgoing General Officer commanding the Northern Command, Brigadier General Francis Ofori, conceded that the country's borders are porous, but pointed out that plans are afoot to fixing them through monitoring.
When you go to some of the places, I won't tell you. I will not tell you. We have noticed that some places where, there are no immigration or custom personnel there to be able to man the place. But we have noticed a lot of those, and we are beginning to seal them. Sealing them in the sense of monitoring, keeping an eye over some of these things, so that what goes in and comes out, we are able to have some measure of control over those things.
The Ministry of National Security, in collaboration with the Upper West Regional Security Council, RECSEC, and its bid to ward off suspected terrorists from the country, deployed contingents of military personnel from the airborne force led by Major Fatau Abdullahi and stationed at the eastern corridor of the region. 3 dozen police personnel from the Foreign Police Unit (FPU) have also been deployed to undisclosed locations in the region to complement the work of the airborne force. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, who also doubles as the chairman of the Upper West RECSEC, spoke of plans put in place to make the region safe for the people.
They are not centered in war. They are at strategic points where we think that people are likely to try to come into Ghana through. They are stationed there so that there will be a barrier to those persons.
Kweku Bawone, however, has doubts about the strategy employed to ward off suspected terrorists from the country.
Where we are sitting right now, we are in Wa. From Wa to Burkina Faso, it's just 25 minutes. In 25 minutes, you are in Burkina Faso. You pass through my house, you go to Dormo, you are in Burkina Faso. By the time we are talking about Burkina Faso, people in Wa are taking to Hamele, and that place is so porous. How many security vehicles are on that road? There's almost nothing. Recently, when there was a support system, we had a foreign police unit. I saw some vehicles. Where are they? They have been withdrawn to Accra. What sort of security is that?
They are still on post.
Are they at post? Are they at Dormo?
Some are at Tumu and some are at Hamele.
Are they there right now as we are talking? Have you seen them today? Have you called today? But every district in the Upper West region needs not less than 10 pickups.
For now, the borders are porous. Constructing a fence wall will be too costly and not on the agenda of the government. However, deployment of more intelligence and security officers equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment to communities lying close to the Black Volta will maybe put a seal on the porous borders.
They are not well resourced. You go to them, they have no vehicles. When they have vehicles, no tires. When they have tires, there's no petrol. Anytime there's a problem, the politicians want to put pressure on the policemen. It will never work. I repeat, it will never work. Give the security personnel the tools, they will do the job.
Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And this is the Joy News campaign investigating the state of Ghana's borders and other points of entry. Away from that, the Municipal Health Director for Karachi East, Amin Abdul Muttalib, says government must fix the poor healthcare delivery system in the municipality. The district's capital, Dambai, which also doubles as regional capital for the newly created Oti region, can only boast of an under-resourced health center. The situation is adversely affecting the health of the people, especially pregnant women. International non-governmental organization World Vision has stepped in with the commissioning of a modern CHIPS compound for the 160,000 residents of Cement, one of the Karachi East communities. Ernest Minu reports.
100 communities in the Karachi East Municipal Assembly. The people are predominantly farmers and fishermen. Like many places in Ghana, the municipality has major infrastructure challenges, but perhaps the poor healthcare system there is what needs immediate attention. Amin Abdul Muttalib is the municipal health director.
One is, let me say, mobility. Staff have to move from one area, catchment area, to another area to provide basically services. So motorbike need is very, very dear to us. And then we have island communities that don't have a facility standard. So we normally organize an outreach program to those island communities. So we also need a support in terms of funding to travel to these island communities, stay there for about 2 or 3 weeks, provide these services, an integrated one before we come back.
Eva Ajete, a resident of Cement, one of the hard-to-reach communities in the municipality, tells me she nearly died on the lake whilst crossing to deliver at a CHIPS compound on the other side.
I was in labor and we needed to cross to the lake to see the midwife. I was in pain. At some points, I couldn't take it anymore, so I delivered at the bank of the lake. But we could not cut the umbilical cord of the baby. I almost died.
But that was the first experience. Her father says about 7 of them almost drowned 2 years later. She was pregnant with her second child.
My canoe started leaking, so I tried to get the water out of it. Then there was a storm that hit us and took me out of the canoe.
machine nankasa ne gya no ebedumie nti abra na egya no edumie wie no na mekasa mi
I fell in the lake and began to struggle. I nearly died.
Machine ba free ansana kopela no eye soft na mitumi yi mi kon e di free kopela no ansana misa efu kro no bio sanka machine no antumi an chichire mi kon na e bufa mi so na sakopela no be hiti mi tria fair enough e wono no.
Today, the residents are optimistic the provision of a modern CHIPS compound by World Vision Ghana through their donors will alleviate their plight.
But now we have this facility here. So on a monthly basis, the midwife comes here to meet the pregnant woman.
We're excited about this CHIPS compound. It's really going to benefit us. We welcome it.
First, if someone is sick, they will have to travel to another town, and that too, it costs much money. And some people are here, they don't have money. So, because they brought this, people can even walk to this place and for their treatment. So, if I may play, what they did for us, we are happy. And if we may play, they can do more for us.
The CHIPS compound comes with 3 nurses' quarters, a mechanized borehole at a cost of $66,624. This is the 6th CHIPS compound provided by the NGO. The Municipal Health Director, Amin Mutalib, tells Joy News government must upgrade the health facilities in the area, especially as Dambai has now been elevated to the status of a regional capital.
We expect that now that the municipality has been elevated as a regional capital, the health status or health facilities in the municipality has to also improve. We need to have a hospital, if not a regional hospital for now, at least the district hospital should be, constructed for now. They also have a health center, the Dambai Health Center, if it can be upgraded to a polyclinic status. We have a doctor there right now. If that place can be also upgraded immediately to a polyclinic so that it can provide some of the basic services that we normally refer to other facilities outside the municipality. So we want this immediate intervention to be done as far as the status of the municipality has been or changed.
Ernest Minu for Joy News.
Away from that, the British High Commissioner to Ghana, Ian Walker, is embarking on a 1,000-kilometer bike ride to raise funds in support of the plastic surgery and burns unit at the Kolebo Teaching Hospital. The 10-day ride, dubbed the Ghana Grand Tour, will see the diplomats ride through Ashanti region and end in the Volta region. Ahead of the ride today, consultant plastic director and at the burns unit, Dr. Pokuwari Ampoma says the center is excited about the move and urged others to also donate to support the center, which relies largely on donations.
Plastic surgery is only present in 3 out of the how many regions that we have now. So only Greater Accra, Ashanti region, and then Central region that has plastic surgery present. So all the other regions do not have this expertise available within easy reach. Okay, so it means that there's a big deficit there. So as a center, that's what we've been doing. So you asked about our activities. Yeah. Our activities that we undertake are both so service delivery, looking at all the delivery area diseases that we cover, and then we also undertake outreach regularly. So because we know that the service is only available in Accra, so sometimes we go to the district hospitals.
But what about the regions you mentioned? They also have the services.
Yeah, they have at least one surgeon, but stationed. There's a Kumasi, they have about 5
stationed.
Yeah, stationed there. Okay, but then it means that the other regions are underserved or don't have any service at all. So what we've been doing is to try and bridge that gap. So we organize outreaches regularly. So we take a team of our staff who volunteer their time and expertise, and then we go to the various district hospitals to provide the service there locally.
Oh, that's
the advantage is that one, it's more accessible to people. Yeah. Okay, and then of course people are having the treatment in their own environment, because you can imagine the average person who hasn't even been to a big city before, he has to come all the way to Accra. It's just hellish for them. So and then we also try to do it free of charge. So we usually collaborate. Yes, our outreach. Yes, so we usually collaborate with either an NGO or
some other organizations to partner so that we can provide that service free of charge.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Produce Buying Company Limited, Kwame Osu-Boateng, has denied allegations of bringing the company to its knees. The workers earlier this morning demanded that the CEO, Kwame Osu-Boateng, be sacked. They accuse him of making decisions that have led to a near collapse of the company. We hear from Mr. Boateng shortly, but first, here's Prince Xavier Gankui, who is the national chairman of the PBC Workers Union.
The board chairman, how do you call it? You see, Ajumano, two problem ayampa. But what it takes to change the company around, to turn the fortunes of the company around, they lack it. The board chairman was a very successful, MD of this very company, but now he's very old. We can't falter him. The man is very old. Yes, and he now is not able to control management. That is how come the company is sinking the more, please. The concerns of the workers is that we need a bailout. Number one. Number two, we need a letter of comfort from the government. And number three, we want the current management out. We want the current management change.
Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. We can now hear from the CEO of the Produce Buying Company Limited, Kwame Osu-Boateng.
So when I assumed duty, I saw that the company was in distress. So I wanted to find out why that situation. The best thing I could have done, and which I did, was that I wrote to Yoko to engage auditors, you see, to carry out forensic investigation into the affairs of the company, because I wanted to know why we were where we are now. And Yoko went out and then did the investigation. And I would say that the problem with the company is self-inflicted. I want to emphasize this. It's self-inflicted.
Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. Coming up in business, Tourism Ministry considers increment in tourism levy.
Maybe a little increment will come, but we also have to look at the private sector to come on board to support the industry.
Daryl Crowell has more after this. And before we wrap up the bulletin, family of murdered Tiger IPI investigator Ahmed Hussein Swale says they are worried about the lack of information from the police on the status of investigations. They are demanding the speedy arrest and prosecution of culprits. Ghana lost its place as Africa's best-ranked country in the last World Press Freedom Index. The index made specific reference to the killing of Ahmed Hussein Swale, noting that, quote, there is not enough protection for journalists in the country, unquote. Now, Maxwell Agbagba has been following up on the status of investigations with the family of the murdered private investigator as part of our Defend Media Freedom campaign.
Met his brother, Ibrahim Kamilu Tahidu. He says there's a communication gap between the police and the family now.
The gap between the family and the police keep widening by the day. No communication flow. Sometimes trying to get the police to get some information is difficult. Though from time to time they'll call you, they have picked up somebody, come for identification, and that ends it. And you know, we tried also giving the police some leads, no information about all these things. And we cannot say they are not working, but they are not as expected, I would say so.
He says justice must be served to protect media freedom.
Meanwhile, the Graphic Communications Group has served notice it will go to every length to secure justice for its reporter who was allegedly assaulted at the church of controversial preacher Prophet Bedu Kobi. There's more in this News Desk report.
It all began 2 weeks ago when head of the Glorious Wave Church, Prophet Bedu Kobi, made what some described as unsavory and ethnocentric comments about Ashanti, Fanti and other women. His comments sparked uproar on social media by many who condemned them, and although there were calls on him to apologize and retract, he refused to do so. This weekend, some gender activists and well-meaning Ghanaians embarked on a demonstration near his church premises to pile pressure on him to retract his comments.
All what we demand from Pastor Bedu Kobi is an apology. What he said is totally wrong. Indirectly, he's blocking our chance of marriage. So we need an apology now.
Della Russell Oklu, who was late for the protest, stayed on during the church service in anticipation of a response by the prophet. Whilst filming, she says she was asked to stop. Here's more of what she wrote on her Facebook page.
The incident was the most traumatic experience I have ever had. The sight of the church members that formed a mob around me while pulling my hand back to retrieve my mobile phone was terrifying. The flashes of the woman who wielded a club with nails in it and gestured towards me in an attempt to hit me was the breaking point for me. But I thank God for the courage and the wisdom which saved the day for me from being lynched. I have sought medical attention and will go through another phase so as to determine the way forward. My employers, the Graphic Group, and the Ghana Journalist Association GJA will communicate the next line of action in the ensuing days. Thanks for the prayers and well wishes. God bless us all.
Her employers have filed an official complaint with the Sakumono police.
And that's it for this bulletin of Joy News today. My name is Daniel Daze. Up next is the Marketplace. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com.